Good afternoon, all. I hope you can hear me. We have assembled today for Meet the Author program. Our guests have joined. A few more are expected. I hope they will join soon. I request our Associate Editor, Srimati Lakshmi Singh, to conduct the proceedings. For the benefit of our guest, let me introduce Srimati Lakshmi Singh. She has been associated with Indus Scrolls ever since its beginning. She wears many hats. She is a journalist, social activist, and a government servant. She is currently working with Animal Welfare Board of India. I request Srimati Lakshmi Singh to take over and conduct the proceedings. Thank you. You have to unmute yourself, ma'am.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Mr. Saurabh. It's a very, very warm welcome to everybody and all the audience. And I'm so proud that we all gathered up on this Saturday. I'm so proud to see Mr. Karan Kataria here. Such an honor. Let me introduce the day. Let us start the day with a very positive note. Why we are here? Let me first welcome the managing editor of Indus Scrolls, Mr. Sridatan, and also a very warm welcome to our author today, Karan Kataria. Indus Scrolls has and the entire team is very, very proud today because on August 15th, we had the opportunity to actually publish. He has released his book, Karan Kataria, Recapturing the Vision, called Bharat. Today we are here on the webinar, which is Meet the Author. Let me introduce Karan Kataria to the rest of the audience. Karan has been the president of Legal Aid Society, School of Law, the North Cap University, Gurgaon, and he has been the co-founder of Pokar Foundation. He's a very multifaceted personality. He's the badge topper and a Dean's List scholarship holder. Even as a young law student, he pursued his passion for writing and published a book called Black Stigma on Indian Democracy at the age of only 17 years. He has also published various research papers in reputed national and international journals, including Indraprastha Law Review, Haryana Police Journal, and various other reputed law and social science journals. He's also served as a student editor for the NCU Law Review. Karan has presented several research papers at various national and international conferences, including a paper on access to education in India at the Global Goals Summit in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. He has the distinction of being awarded the Global Action Ambassador 2020 for United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Karan is proactively involved in pro bono socio-legal assignments for the betterment of society. Such an honor and such a big profile at such a young age, Mr. Karan. I'm so glad I'm introducing you. And it is so inspiring for whoever is attending today's webinar. Over to Mr. Sridatan, our managing director of Indus Scrolls, to do the introductory note.
You have to unmute yourself, sir.
Thank you, Lakshmi. Thank you so much. And good evening to all of you. Namaste. It is a very proud and I'm very privileged to participate in this webinar and to introduce this book written by our young and beloved, enthusiastic young man, Karan Kataria. And we are all happy that at his very young age we are witness to a person who is an emerging intellectual, I would say, and that is we are glad that we have been privileged to publish his book. That is, I think it is a very good we are fortunate to have that opportunity to publish his book. As a publisher, I want to say that. But why, as a publication, why we have selected this book for publication? I would like to say a few words why we have selected it. It is not that every day we get a lot of proposals and a lot of inquiries about how to go about publication of their books and all that. But this particular book caught my imagination. Why? Because the content of it. I could feel the passion in all the pages, whichever I have gone through. So, I have not met him. I met him only recently at the release of his function. But we had over the years in the sense, almost 1 year back, Karanji called me and said that, sir, I have a book with me. Would you like to publish it? I said, you send me the this thing. We have an editorial board, and our editor Preet Nambiar, and we all discussed about it. And one thing which I found it interesting was the passion with which he had treated the subject. After all, it is at this age, after doing his graduation, normally the people who are coming out of our universities are all have a very different image of India or Bharat. And this young man was talking about the past, the glory of the past, and how we can reclaim that. That was something which interested me, and also the way he has treated the subject. That is very interesting. He has treated it very academically. He had done his homework well. He had researched it, and the references he had mentioned is very elaborate and very noteworthy also. So that is why, and editorially also, that the quality of the work was good, very good, and that is why, as a publisher, I must say that why we have zeroed it on that book is because of his quality, not because any other consideration. Let me put it straight. And 2 words about the book also, the content of the book. As I said, this book deals with the glory of India that was. India had a very prestigious and pristine glory, and it was over the time, due to invasions and other subjugation by foreign powers, we were not able to reconnect with our past because of impatience. Our libraries, Nalanda, Takshashila, and other universities were destroyed, and there was a disconnect which our British rulers tried to divide that, increase that fault line, and thus we had a huge disconnect with our past, our glory, and who. The question was who we were. That itself was not. We were not aware of that, who we were. So he has tried to reconnect that, realign ourselves with our past, and then what was our glory, and how we can reclaim that glory. So who are all the culprits for this? It is the Mughal invaders who had destroyed our libraries, our universities, and our traditions, lot of things, converted a lot of people. They were there. Then it was the British who very systematically destroyed all our cultural movings or traditions. They appropriated it, some they destroyed it, and filled us with that slavish mentality, which Macaulay and other, through their educational system, they have induced in us that kind of a slavish mentality, and that also is responsible. But after 47, what happened? After 1947, after we won the independence, what happened? Then also for the last 7 decades, if you see, it was a series of this same old, the British colonial strategy our leaders were adopting, and there was a what do you say, a planned, concerted effort to distance ourselves, to drift ourselves from our path, our traditions. So this is the time we have to reconnect with that, and I am very happy that youngsters like Karan and others coming forward and doing their bit to make this country glorious. And I'm happy that I don't want to give a detailed lecture because we are waiting to hear our young author deliberating on what was his inspiration and why he chose to write this book. He will deal with it elaborately, and I leave the floor to him. Thank you all for joining this discussion. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, you have to unmute yourself. We can't hear you.
Sorry. Thank you so much, Mr. Shiratan sir. That was really nice of you to enlighten all of us about that book. Now over to Mr. Karan Kataria. We really want to hear from you. It's such an honor. We're going to hear, all of us are going to hear it from you about your book.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Pranams to all. श्री दत्तन जी, थैंक यू. मुझे नहीं पता था कि इतनी सारी क्वालिटीज और ये सब इस बुक में या मुझ में. Moving further, it's truly a great privilege to be part of this moment as India celebrated 75 years of independence. And I think my writing is not so monumental or substantial contribution towards the very history that has been whitewashed. Nonetheless, it is a squirrel-like contribution towards attaining true Swarajya and recapturing the vision called Bharat, as the title provides. I am not a historian who can authoritatively put in place the extensive research writing, but I made a small attempt from what all I could learn outside my history class. That's an irony, I know. An iota of literature I had access to. I'm saying this because the mainstream history, my history classes, the libraries I had access to is limited, is extraneous, and had no relevance to me or any youth studying and attending that history class. Many individuals say, why are you so much concerned about history? Why much you're so concerned about past? Many academicians even today debate about it, and they say that going back, looking back is of no use. We need to live in present and we need to plan our future. Well, correct, said, I do associate with it. But whereas the first thing that not associating yourself with past and completely completely vanishing and not remembering the past is not correct. The George Orwell, famous English novelist, said that who controls the past controls the future. The importance of history is not just a subject, but a key that gives us identity as a nation. a key that gives us an identity as a civilization, as a Sanskriti, as a Sabhyata, which is quintessential to the very existence of Rashtra, which is Bharat. But the way we have suffered the great invasions and colonizations is basically could be summarized in three ways. We were economically subjugated, that is, India was treated as a market for finished goods, and invaders came, they sold off their products. Secondly, as a political subjugation, capturing the throne, capturing the political power. And third, which I feel, which is more alarming, which is more threatening to the very thread and fabric of the civilization, is cultural subjugation, and which was targeted more by the invasions, maybe the Islamic invasions, maybe the white. And attempts were made deliberately to make us believe that we were inferior. Our books only encompass the battles that we lost. And case in point being that Alexander is the Great. All the textbooks are flourished, are inked with making Alexander the Great. Whereas the very land of Porus is having a very less reference pertaining to his time, his kingdom. Porus, all vanished. I have never gone across in my life of a student, learning about going through his very kingdom. We've been taught about various Mughal emperors, various emperors of Delhi Sultanate being great. Whereas if we refer them as great and Akbar as great, where is Maharana Pratap gone? What kind of dilemma, dichotomy that we are creating need to be answered. And our textbook, our history books are completely not answering this specific question. We had all the battles that we have today in our history books is all what we lost. Maybe Battle of Tarain, Anglo-Sikh War, Anglo-Maratha, Battle of Panipat, all these wars where, the point comes in that India had a history of losing battles, inferiority is all what is inked to it. Whereas the great empires, maybe Vijayanagara, Gupta, Chola, Ahom, the kings of Manipur, the Marathas, the Rajputanas, the Travancore, all of them have very little or no reference in the present textbook. So this brings an individual in a dichotomy as to consider the very Marxist historian written history to be correct, or what is correct as per the very sayings prevalent in a society. I have been brought up being in Haryana in North India. I've been taught a lot about Surajmal, but Surajmal was given no reference in my textbook that I've come across. Many other individuals from within the vicinity who had their small kingdoms, who actually fought battles, who never given up their hands in front of these foreign invading powers, but there is no reference pertaining to them. Indians were seen as set of looters. We need somebody to rule ourselves, right from the myth of Aryan invasion theory. And we were infested. I am using the word infested because we were made to believe so. And that we need someone to civilize us. We need someone to teach us. The very famous that even the book deals about how Lord Macaulay actually destroyed the very education system in our country. We had the very rich culture, rich heritage, rich methodology of teaching in our Gurukul system of teaching. But Gurukuls were not given due place. The universities, Nalanda, Takshashila, Vikramshila, which even Shiriji talked recently, they were all destroyed. Again, Khilji destroyed Nalanda, but in this very country, we have a station named after Khilji. So there comes a fight. There comes a fight as to we need to consider that Khilji, an individual who actually destroyed the very culture, identity of this country by burning the great library of Nalanda University, which were burned for over a couple of months. This independent India, when we are celebrating 75 years of Amrit Mahotsav, we have a place named after him in independent India. So are we actually giving due credits to what he has done in distorting, in destroying the very culture and identity of this country? This need to be answered. And Macaulay, in his minutes, in his letters, in his submissions to the British Parliament and to his relatives and various letters, provides that the main aim of English, the main aim of White, and main aim of Macaulay, that the education system was Indians will be Indians by blood and skin, but by practice, but by our very principles will be westernized. So westernization was the main aim of the English language, of the English education system that was introduced. And also on the very book launch, Shriji, I had a couple of academicians present there. And in the evening, I received a call. I won't name the academician. He's a very known academician in this country. So he said that there never existed a concept of nation. And the Rashtra, the nation as Bharat was never conceptualized in the history. But to him, I argued and I said that British gave us a political nationhood. Okay, agreed that India, political entity in terms of boundaries would have been defined by them. But nation is not just mere boundaries or a political entity, but we as a nation shared common culture, common emotional entity with our territory. And various epics, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Puranas, and Vishnu Purana being case in point, provides the very nation in place. The Vishnu Purana Shloputram yat samundrasya himadri chaiva dakshanam varshat tad bharat nam bharati yat santati provides that the land south to Himalayas and north to Samundra, ocean, is all Bharat, and the individuals living are the son of this very land. So where the Puranas claiming that we never had a nation by the present academicians actually refuses the this concept of nation defined in our great epics. And very recent, even in Shankaracharya, putting and establishing 4 places in all 4 directions is actually contradictory to what present academia feels about. Furthermore, the various accounts, the various writings of foreign travelers, maybe Hun Sang, Faryan, from Tang Dynasty, and all such individuals have referred this country as Al-Hind. So on one side, the present academia saying that there is no identity of a nation prior to Britishers, and the Puranas, the great epic of this very land written by the very individuals and son of this soil, claiming it. Again, I might be termed as anti-feminist saying son of this soil, but the women were never, never discriminated in this very country. There are many Richai written by in Vedas, almost 17, I guess, by women. We had Delhi University, my college name is Gargi, Drop, Maitri colleges. So all these Vidushis, all these ladies are case in point, are an exemplifier of the very rich culture and heritage that we had. We never discriminated between men and women. We never discriminated on the basis of caste, creed. But with passage of time, with invasions, with cultural subjugation, we were made to believe in a particular thought. We were actually conquered. Our minds were enslaved, and a thought was infested to believe in a particular set of line, a set of history, a whitewash history, to be precise. Again, a point is being made that if we are revisiting, if we are recapturing, if we are again glorifying the very true history, will actually have a hindrance toward the brotherhood of this country. So again, I completely do not agree with the present stance, as the Muslims of this country do not owe their allegiance to Babur. There have the very the governor of Kerala, Arif Muhammad Khan, he has given very great examples that we owe our allegiance to Rahim, we owe our allegiance to Kabir, Dara Shikoh, the place where I live. There's one Khan Mewati who said to Babur that I do not owe allegiance to you, I owe allegiance to this very motherland. To Mr. Kalam, there have been so many dignitaries, so many individuals who have sacrificed their blood and sweat for this motherland. So how come a question comes in picture that if we are glorifying the true past and we are saying that Khilji was wrong and Ghazni was wrong, would hamper the very sentiments of the present community? I fail to understand. Again, this book has actually attempted to put in place the very achievements that have been done by the ancient Bharat, by the ancient India. In particular, if you talk about in the field of science and technology, we've been said that they civilized us. But when they were food gatherers, we were actually, Vedas were written in this country. When they do not know how to, they don't know about F of a food. So there is, if they accept the very rich culture and heritage, their vested interest in particular set of lines will be harnessed, and their set agenda will be ruined if they actually accept the very identity and the golden history of Bharat. So this book attempts and starts from the Gurukul system, the rich culture and heritage of Guru Shishya Parampara, to the institutions of ancient education in our country, how they were actually ruined and they were destroyed to make us culturally subordinate to these imperialist individuals. Again, the present academia talks, relates and compare Machiavelli with Chanakya. So again, this odd comparison of Machiavelli and Chanakya is nowhere related, but the West is actually, the present academia is actually focusing on ethnic cleansing of whatever relates to glorious history of Bharat, glorious history of this very country. Then the books move on to talk about the development in the field of science and technology, may it be Ayurveda, may it be nuclear bomb, may it be plastic surgery, cataract surgery, the ruler measurements, and various others. Thereafter, we have attempted to put in place how the education system was actually destroyed by the English. The writings of Dharampal ji have been cited, the various research papers and research of the universities and research scholars have been cited, and putting in consideration the extensive work that they have done to put in place and recapture the very vision, recapture the very glory of this country. And at the end, I have attempted to provide a way forward, as many critiques provide, that moving behind, it will not give a solution, but living in present and moving future, it will do suffice. So for them and for everyone, how what is the way forward, and how can the present education system provide due recognition and consideration to the glorious past? Because we cannot build a empire, a Vishwa Guru, because we never intend to be a Vishwa Shakti. We intend to be a Vishwa Guru on the basis of a whitewashed history, which have no feet, which is not so deep rooted in the soil. So only way to build a great Bharat, to recapture the glory that we had in the past, can only be possible if we know, if we acknowledge our true history. And we always believed in forgiveness. Remembering the history will not green the wounds that have been given by the invaders in the past, but it will make us not to forget it. We've been there to forgive for all, but the recapturing the history will not permit us to forget the great Holocaust that have been done, the great massacres that have been done. So I won't take much of the time, because the book would speak for itself and the work would speak. So this is a small attempt, not so academic or a great research oriented thing, but yes.
Karan, I sorry to interrupt you. I just want to ask the audience, किसी को अगर करण से कुछ पूछना है या is there anything you want to ask?
Yeah, hello. Hi, ma'am. Hi, Karan.
What is your name? Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Pallavi.
Hi, Pallavi. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Lucknow.
All right. What is your question? You can speak to the author.
Yeah, hi, Karan. So I mean, great information about these Hindu Rajas that we had. So my question is, do you have any insight as to how we can incorporate this important information about these great Hindu Rajas in our current curriculum?
See, revisiting a curriculum in a proper mainstream has a proper process and due process to be followed. I think, and the concerned individuals and concerned committees are working upon it. But definitely, with research coming up, revealing what is true with provided facts and figures, will make the present academia think, rediscover, reponder, revisit the true history and reclaiming it back. And with research, further research in the particular field will definitely have this incorporated in the very system and the very education system of our country.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for answering my question.
We have one more person calling us. She has texted me just now. I think her name is Roshni. Roshni, आप कुछ पूछना चाह रहे थे?
हेलो मैम।
नमस्कार, आप कहाँ से कॉल कर रहे हैं?
मैं उत्तराखंड से बात कर रही हूँ।
आप क्या करते हैं?
मैं बच्चों को हिंदी पढ़ाती हूँ, हिंदी के हिंदी।
जी, आप करण जी से बात कर लीजिए।
जी
पूछिए, आपको जो पूछना है।
हेलो सर, मैं ये पूछना चाहती हूँ कि जो आपने किताब इंग्लिश में लिख रखी है मेरे भारत के बारे में, इसको आप अगर हिंदी में करेंगे तो हर कोई पढ़ सकेगा, ताकि